What's up, family? This is another episode of the Hello Love Podcast. It's your boy, Coach Coide. I got to get the labor work out of the way. Make sure you are liking, comment, and subscribing. Make sure you are sharing this stuff out to the people you love, the people you want to see say hello to love. Tonight, man, I have a brother who has been a brother in Christ for me for been some umpteen years, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, I remember when you had locks at one point, and man, and we did. I think we was hosting together at one point.
Yes,
you know, we was
that
doing
was dope. I was thinking about that on the way here.
We was hosting at some point, so he's a host. You know what I mean? My brother Rashad, man, Rashad Davis in the building.
Yes,
Got
sir.
some amazing things going on, man. Like, tell the people, just tell the people who Rashad is.
Man, who is Rashad? First, I'm a man of God. I'm a son of God, and I'm a family man. I'm a businessman. I love to serve the Lord and just be obedient and pursue the purpose that He's placed on the inside of me. So I'm a mentor as well. I mentor teenage boys. I'm a youth leader as well. So my heart is absolutely for pouring into the next generation, you know, and ensuring that we're making the world better by pouring into them, man, because you know that the YNs they around, you know, you got to make them an ally or it'll be bad for you. So definitely pushing into the next generation and building generational wealth.
Amen. Yeah, that's key. We talked about that literally like on the last episode, just the stewardship of finances in the kingdom. Like, that's something we kind of sweep under the rug. You know, you want to ask for my money, but you don't want to teach me how to get it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You want to teach me how to keep it.
That's the important thing, man. I think when I was coming up, the focus was on make money.
Yeah.
But you said something real key, how to steward it, how to manage
That's it. Yeah.
And that's what my focus is now, because I've gotten to the point where I know how to make money. Because I've been doing it since I was 13 years old.
Yeah.
That's been a passion. But now I've realized that, you know, when you get to like mid-20s, you running on a treadmill. You're making money, but where it's going? You know, so now the focus is how to steward it well. And like I said, build generational wealth.
Yes, sir. That's key. Definitely want to talk about because ever since I've known you, like, you've been a youth. I know the word nowadays is influencer. You know, so youth influencer. Y'all young folk probably don't know what a minister, youth pastor is nowadays. But what kind of brought you into that? I want to say field. Was it the fact that, because I know a lot of people, like for me, I'm kind of in that field as well a little bit, and I think for me, this is my little plug. I think I do it for the fact that I know what it's like to not understand the things of God. I know what it's like to not experience God in the fullness, and to see somebody who is hungry and excited about it, but don't have nobody to walk them through the journey. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We get in church, we raise our hands, we worship God, but who's there to teach us how to walk this thing out for real when you don't feel like lifting your hands on a Sunday? When you don't feel like getting up, coming to church. You know what I mean? I worked with you sometime, and I just saw how you and your wife have turned this thing into a ministry in itself. I mean, I know y'all got a multiple businesses and ministries and stuff, but I look at y'all, I pay attention to y'all a lot. But I think the youth thing in itself, and I don't know what y'all working on, but I think that itself can be a whole church ministry outside of even what y'all are doing. And I think y'all kind of walking in that direction, but the way y'all draw and the way y'all draw youth to me is crazy. And I think that's a key thing too, because I'm sure y'all bring the finances and stuff into that. But I guess the question is, like, what inspired and encouraged you to, like, this is something I want to do, and encourage people? Because I always say all the time, like, you don't have to do it.
That's true.
You got the money, you know what I'm saying? You got the wife. What is it about? What is it that makes you want to pour back to these youth?
Well, man, you said a mouthful right there. Like you over there ministering over there real quick, but 100%. This is our DNA. That's what I realized. Mo and I both have been pouring into the young people our entire lives. You know,
Ever since I know y'all, man.
our entire lives, man. The night we met, she was in the studio making a mixtape for her youth group. You know, this is 2014. And so she's been doing this since before we met. And I was out here. I just was always connected to young people. I was one of my producers was working at the Boys and Girls Club. So I used to go in there and do like songwriters clubs with him or songwriters workshops, you know. So I literally have been doing that my whole life. Like right after high school, I think right after high school, I got into like after school programs and summer programs through this like AmeriCorps.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was just like right out of high school, working with young people, working with kids. And then, you know, the church we were at Prevailing Love, man, they just saw something in us. I was trying to be in production.
I think I remember that too, man.
Exactly. I was behind the camera.
Yeah.
You know, but shout out to Apostle Lewis Jones and Apostle Kimberly Jones.
Yeah,
they saw something in us that I definitely didn't know was there.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
in terms of in the church setting. I hadn't done it in the church setting. It was just volunteering. It was, you know, summer jobs, things like that. But in the church setting, man, I just realized, like I said, like this is my DNA. Like this is not even a heavy pull. I've worked with all types of young people, from the ones who they're only there because their parents have them there,
Yeah.
and it's like pulling teeth to even get them to speak and smile, you know, so to the ones who really have a hunger for Christ, you know, and even when it was hard to get the children to participate, it was just a natural thing. Like we showing up, we're giving our all, me and Moa, we're planning what we gonna do for them. We giving them the best experience that we possibly can. So I realized this is my DNA. And one of the underlying things is, our big thing is about identity in Christ. Understanding your identity in Christ. We want to get them to understand that as young as possible so they can fast track into their purpose.
Yeah.
Because you can spend so many years in the wilderness, you know, 40 years in the wilderness, because you just don't understand who you are.
Yeah.
So you delay your blessings just by trying to figure out in the process.
Right.
So I was a victim of not understanding who I am. I was a victim of, you know, allowing my circumstances to dictate who I am, to tell me who I am. Okay, I'm from the hood, so you got to be this way.
Yeah.
I'm a young male, so I got to have this many women.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So I just allowed that to dictate who I am, and just kind of gravitated towards the hip hop culture and allowed the hottest songs and the hottest trends to dictate how I move, until I realized, man, I need to attach myself to something eternal.
Yeah.
You know, that dawned on me later on in life, and that allowed me to be free. And the freedom that I experience now, and not being concerned about their opinions and their perspectives, and just being bound by people, you know, it gave me a joy and a peace and a happiness that I never experienced. And I just really want to articulate that to the young people. That's how I go.
That'll work. That'll do it, man. That'll do it. Cause they need it, man. They need it. Like I don't even necessarily work with a lot of the youth at the church, but they it's like they see something in you, they be following you around, you know what I'm saying? And it's a trigger of, and I'm gonna say it like this. I think it's the desire of wanting to be like that person that they see. You know what I mean? Even if they are quiet, because I done met some to be quiet as on know what, but they be watching you. They be watching you, and it kind of, the segue into the next topic of the conversation is like knowing, like coming from the industry that you came from. You know what I mean? Like I want the people to know a little bit more about that and the transition that you made over into the Christian community, so to speak, or the church. Like, how was that for you? What kind of inspires you to that? What was the concept behind it of saying, like, you know what, I'm I know I got it going on over here. I'm doing this. Because I'm pretty for sure. I know when I was in the world too, I was doing all right. You know what I'm saying? I was doing all right. You know, I wasn't really struggling for nothing. I wasn't no gospel hip hop artist or nothing. I don't know, Christian hip hop artist in the industry, but living for the world, I was okay. You know what I mean? So let's talk about how coming into that or making this decision to say, you want to do this for the Lord now, do this for God. Was it like a moment? Because I know a lot of people that I've interviewed too had those moments where it was like God kind of rained down, hey, get it together. Or was it like hey man, God, I need to get it right. Or was it more? Because a lot of folks, you know, we're changed for a woman now. You know?
Well, man, I'm glad you asked that because I don't really go deep into like what my journey was in the music industry as much anymore. But I definitely pursued a rap career for 17 years. You know, fresh out of high school, still in high school, actually, I started rapping. And it got deep, man. I performed all over the country. I was on the radio. I was on television. I was aligned with the likes of C Murder, Mystical, you know, a few different people, even Webby's crew, you know, and all kinds of features, all these shows and all these things. And it was deep. It was my identity. That was my identity. Like, nobody really called me Rashad. You know, no, I didn't go anywhere much that was not associated with music. I went, especially when I came to Atlanta. Well, all my young adult life, man, everything that I was doing was associated with rap. Even when I was working overnight, you know, graveyard shifts. Nobody even knew where I worked, if I worked. You know, my whole life was dedicated to music. When it came to the pandemic, actually, when I made it to the church, Prevailing Love, that started that transition. To be honest, entrepreneurship was my come to Jesus moment.
Okay.
As unique and different as that sounds, you know, because I moved to Atlanta, I left my job voluntarily, and I said I was going to be a full-time rapper. You know, and I was doing video on the side. I was mentioning earlier that I was the video guy. So I said, I'll make a little money. I had started my business that's successful now, but it took on a different form. It was an entertainment blog, you know, and events. So after I left my job, man, I was very uncertain on how things were going to turn out. You know, that's the first time it was unstable for me. Finances were unstable. So navigating that transition. So naturally, I called on the Lord. You know, before then, God was in my back pocket. You know, I wasn't really living outwardly for God. I wasn't passionate about my relationship with God. I prayed every now and then, and I went to I made sure I went to church, but it wasn't outwardly living. But when that happened, He brought me my wife. My wife connected me to that church, and they started to develop something in me that I didn't know was there.
I always call them like they some real life purpose pushers.
Exactly.
Like this right here wouldn't even have been if it wasn't for Prevailing Love.
100%, man. Yeah, they saw something was there, and it was a community. So I always suggest, man, if you're looking to reach your full potential, you have to find your tribe. Get connected to the right people, because it was women and men in that church that saw stuff in me that I didn't know was there. I was seeing things so small. I was seeing so limited, you know, but they just saw things in me, and they wouldn't give up on me. It was days I was in there in my feelings, you know, and you know, one of the sisters would just come prophesying over me, laying hands on me. I wasn't even at the altar. I'm in the back. Right. They came and found me. You know, so it's like, they really start to nurture things. And before you knew it, man, I was activated in the church. I was becoming a minister in the church, you know, within 3 years at the church, I was becoming that. So it got to the point in like 2018 where I started to feel conviction, and I started to be conflicted, because I'm like, I don't know. Everybody back home see me still as Il Deuce. You know, but in Atlanta at the church, You know, people in the community, they starting to see me as this man of God, this powerful man of God.
Yeah.
By now, I'm in front of the church praying, interceding, doing all these things. We activated, we youth ministers.
Yeah.
You know, we doing all of these things, but I'm not posting none of that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just an entrepreneur and I'm a rapper. So at one point, I put down my social media, you know, and started a whole new social media. I started new Facebook, new Instagram.
Yeah.
This my minister and business account.
Business-
I ain't connected to nobody back home
Right,
because
right.
I was still bonded in bondage.
Yeah.
I was worried about what they was gonna think, you know. But in the pandemic, in 2020 is when I really had this reckoning, man, and I really had a realization that it's time. And Mo was coaching me, you know, and telling me don't worry about it because we were active and we were powerful.
Yeah. Y'all, man, like, I just being there to experience it, you know what I'm saying? And now to see not just the growth of y'all business, but y'all ministry, y'all marriage, y'all kids. It's just it's mind blowing to see how God has kind of orchestrated you as a man. You know what I mean? So it's like I don't take it lightly that God said bring Rashad on. You know what I mean? Because I'm sure somebody out there listening it that may be following you now that don't know that side of the story. Because y'all are y'all just a power couple in itself.
I appreciate that.
In ministry and in business. You know what I'm saying? And you don't really get that. We was talking about the finances thing. Like, you don't really get that. You either got one or the other. When it comes to this church thing, like they powerful in the spirit, or weak over here, or about to lose their church over here on the other side. You know what I'm saying? And then got repo cars and all this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Or they just rich over here, got all this money, but ain't got no real relationship with God. You know what I mean? So it's a powerful thing to see that come together and see y'all both flourishing in it. And again, you know, shout out to Mo, because you see a lot of women out here who flowing in the spirit and their husband ain't nowhere to be found. You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's
he go
true.
to church, but he ain't got no power.
That's
you know
true.
what I'm saying? Like, so I want to say that just to plug that in there, like a powerful dynamic duo for real. And I say that from the personal experience that I've witnessed watching and growing up and being, cause I was kind of under y'all for a minute, you know what I mean? So and to now, like, look at y'all and be like, dang, bro, like they really out here doing it, man.
I appreciate that, bro.
They really out here doing it.
It's just sticking to God's plan, man.
Amen.
It's sticking to God's plan, because I couldn't have orchestrated this. I couldn't have written this, scripted this in the least bit. So it's just following his plan, staying submitted and surrendered.
Yeah.
You know, we fast so much, man. I don't even be know if I'm hungry. I don't know if I'm allowed to eat or not. I have to remember if I'm on a fast or not.
Yeah.
But we stay so submitted and surrendered, man, because when you live a life of, you've made a lot of mistakes. You've made the bad decisions. You've got off track and took the long route to get to some type of prosperity.
Yeah.
It's like, man, look, I don't want no more missteps. I don't want no more mishaps. I want to be divinely aligned. That's what my prayer is.
Amen.
Consistently, to be divinely aligned with his will, because look, I don't want to look, God, I'm in a phase of God redeeming my time, you know, so I don't want to get out of alignment at all.
Man, we literally just talked about alignment with Coop, and just talking about the alignment of how God aligns certain things and certain times, because I had a podcast before. God ain't say put Rashad on. You know what I'm saying? So now, again, coming into alignment, and we also talked about just looking at, you know, the song. There's a song that we talked about the song that says, "Look what the Lord has done." You know what I mean? Something. I told her, I said something that reminds me of when I do get in my dark days, and we do have it, because those times come. You know what I'm saying? When you come over here on this side, you know, all of y'all who want to come, you know, you welcome. It ain't gonna always be perfect.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It ain't always gonna be perfect. You're gonna have some struggles. But the encouragement for me, kind of what you just said, like, I look back at where God has brought me from.
Yes.
You know, and the alignment for me is like, as much as fun as I probably had, I don't want to go back, because I know what it felt like after the fact. I know what it felt like from the inside. So we in alignment, because the last episode we literally just talked about alignment and where God has brought us from is what's the encouragement to keep us going.
100%. Yeah, and when you think about, of course, yeah, it's gonna be challenges. It's gonna be hard times. But he said, "My yoke is easy, my burden is light," and I always associate that with if you're doing it right. Like everybody, you could be a Christian, but are you doing Christianity right?
Right.
If you're doing it right, you're casting all your burdens on him. When you're doing it wrong, you carrying it yourself and trying to figure out all the solutions yourself. Our natural reaction, especially as men, is to come up with a solution to resolve the issue. But when you understand that he's in control and his hand is on my life and he's concerned about everything that concerns me, all I got to do is keep calm and remain silent and allow God to fight for me. That gives you the peace. That gives you the joy. That protects your heart and guards your heart. So you just have to really get to the point in your journey where my first defense or my first reaction is to cast it on the Lord, to cast it on him. Let me seek him. What are you showing me in this? Because I've been through some very challenging times, man. Even in business, about a year ago or the end of 2023, I went through almost losing my business, and my business is my only source of income. So I was worried, I was stressed, and I'm like, God, I was consecrated just like I'm saying I am now. So I'm like, God, what is happening? And I was believing that he was going to bring me out of it, but my initial reaction was, all right, what are you doing in this? I'm studying, I'm meditating, I'm fasting, I'm trying to see what God is trying to reveal to me, and that's the reaction versus worrying, stressing, resorting to worldly mechanisms. Now I'm drinking, I'm smoking, I'm backtracking. All of those things. That's when you're doing it wrong and causing more strife on yourself. So that's always my advice.
And that's good. I always say, for me, what I look at people out here now, especially in the church community, like, you have people who have a heart of God, and then you have people who just got good hearts. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And there's a lot of pastors out here who have good hearts, who know the Bible back and forth, but do they have a heart of God? You know what I mean? Like, do they have a heart of God? When you got a heart of God, from what I've experienced, your stress level, I want to take a drink is always going to result back to God. Because you have a heart of God. Like, hey, God, I don't know why my business is about to fail, but I know you doing something over here, so I need to go ahead and get you trying to get my attention. So I'm gonna pull back and see what you want me to do.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's some wild and crazy things that he tell us to do, and we end up doing it. My apostle talked about how he was a barber, very successful business barber, and God said, let it go, give it away. And he had to give it. That was on his source of income. You know what I mean? He did it. He was obedient, and God still showed up in other ways. But you gotta have a heart of God to even understand that concept. And no shade to no men out here who want to do it on their own, because I know it's a natural man thing to do.
Right.
But when you come over on the side where you kingdom mindset, like, something has to change.
Absolutely.
Something has to change. You can't figure it out on your own no more. You know what I mean? You shouldn't, like, your thought process shouldn't even take you to that place.
Yeah.
To want to figure it out. Because some got to say, you know what? There's this man named Jesus. You know what I mean? That brought me here. Again, brought me this far. So what I need to do now is resort back to him.
The answer is in him.
And it always is. You know what I mean? Me and you we'll preach, bro. We'll preach. I guess I'm kind of backtracking on this. Like, when it comes to Rashad, like, what brought you to this point where you are? Who is Rashad now? You know what I mean? What brought you to where Rashad is now? Because we all got a story, and you can share whatever you want to share. And be led to share. But bringing you to this man of God, some people, and again, I ain't telling you to share this, but some people share their stories, and it kind of shows who this person and why this person is and why this person became who they are. Like, I guess my question is, like, who is Rashad, and, like, what brought you to Georgia? Was it a God moment? Was it like, look, man, it ain't working over here. Let me hop up and go to Georgia. So, like, what brought you to this place, and who and what encouraged that more than anything?
Well, of course, I moved to Atlanta chasing a dream. You know,
Yeah,
Atlanta
yeah.
was the mecca for hip hop in the South. And I had the opportunity to visit when I was 21, and I fell in love. You know, I took a bro trip. We got on the road.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
rented a minivan
Yeah.
and took a road trip to Atlanta. I hit Central Station. I hit
Yeah.
Lenox Mall. I was in love.
Yeah.
You know, so I made it a point to get back here. And I finally moved here in 2011 and started this journey. But to answer who I am today, man, it goes back to what I was saying about the transformation that was taking place. So in the pandemic, I realized that it's time. It's time. And I embarked on like a 3-month journey of just like showing up on Facebook Live every
Yeah, I
day
remember. I remember that. Yeah.
in my backyard, just ministering.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, just praying and ministering, and I was just letting everybody know, like, this is who I am.
Yeah.
This is who I am. This is the path that I'm on, and this is what it's gonna be. And like I said, just experiencing the joy of God. You know, it was just a different experience for me. So getting to the point where I grew up very religious in a Methodist church, and I was just at the point of when I was in church, you know, I didn't lift my hands. I wasn't expressive in church, you know, so because I was bound.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but when I started living this life for Christ, being able to do those things was so liberating to me. Being able to run through the church,
Yeah.
being able to shout and jump and travail, cry. You know, I'll cry in a moment in the church. My Zoe will tell you, my daughter will tell you that I don't never see you cry unless you're in church. Like I'm just vulnerable, you know, in his presence. You know, so those things allow me to gravitate more to being the man of God versus being the rapper and the womanizer and all those things, because
yeah.
I've seen the fruit of that lifestyle. I've seen the fruit of it. It's broken hearts, it's disappointment, it's emptiness, you know, all of those things. And I just started to gravitate towards this. And and as far as the rapping, man, I had so much blood, sweat, and tears. And that's why I haven't transitioned into the Christian rap.
Right.
Because it was so long seeking their approval. You get what I'm saying? It was so long aiming for acceptance, you know, and now I'm just free of this. On this ministry side, it's serving.
Yeah.
Like, people are seeking approval on the ministry side because they haven't experienced, you know, that other
side.
outside the church.
Yeah.
So they want the platform to get accepted. They want the attention. They want all of those things. But I left all of that in rap, and now I'm just over here free. I wanted 1 million fans in rap, but God just say one soul.
Yep.
You know, so it's like so liberating, so much joy, so much happiness. So I'm walking in this to the fullest extent because there's no demands. You know, it's just being who God calls me to be. I'm convicted, and he's directing my path. He's ordering my steps. You know, it's just it's fulfilling. So that's how I became who I am. And with the business, man, I really just, like I said, it started to support my rapping.
Got you.
But it transitioned to supersede my rapping, because like in 2016, it transitioned from a blog to a social media management business, and it started generating income. So now it's getting to the point where rapping is taking my money, but this business is paying my bills.
Yeah.
So the shift started to focus.
Right.
And then in 2020, it started to blow up more. And in 2022, hit the first 6 figures, and it just kept growing from there.
Yeah.
So a businessman, and it's funny because I'm like really behind the scenes with my business. I'm not really like putting myself out there. I'm not the front person, any of those things. But if I wouldn't have started this business in 2010 with that purpose, it was a blog, and the intent was for no one to know I was behind the blog.
Okay.
Because I'm from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I was experienced, it's a lot of people say it's crabs in the bucket.
Yeah.
They see it's you, they don't want to support it. because you used to talk to my girl, or
Yeah.
your friend, your homie beefing with my homie. So it's just so much hate, so much
Yeah.
politics and all of these things. So I was like, let me create something that I can hide behind and people gonna support it. Rappers was paying me, didn't even know they were paying me to be on my blog.
Yeah.
They just paying the platform.
Yeah.
And to this day, it's still basically that way, because it's like, I'm not the face of this. I'm not the front. It's just an entity. And I support people who are in the front.
Yeah.
I support influencers. You get what I'm saying? And I build their community experience for them.
Right.
So it's just, it was a blessing. God was doing that work the entire time.
And didn't even know about it. And it's interesting how you was talking about just one of your goals is to help these young people find their identity.
Yes.
When you yourself was not necessarily hiding your identity, but allowing things to kind of flow the way they needed to flow. And now you're out here helping other people find, their identity, when at one point you were trying to hide behind your own, you know what I mean? So it's just, again, that alignment and how God kind of bring that thing back around. But that's deep, man. You know what I'm saying? That's deep.
100%, man. Behind the scenes and collecting a check. And and it was gravy. And that structure, like I said, is still what's sustaining today. Like, I'm not hiding anymore, for sure, but it's just the structure, and that's a scalable business. That's a business that you can pass down generation to generation. Because even the people that I support that are influencers, they have hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram. They understand that at some point they have to disassociate their face from the brand, because if people are only showing up for them, when they try to scale the business and put other people in place, just like at church, if the church is only associated to the pastor, what's going to happen when the pastor not preaching on Sunday?
Yeah. They don't show up.
They ain't showing up.
They don't show up.
So you got to really build an establishment of where people support the movement and not just the personality.
Right. I think you said it earlier too. You got to build a community. You know what I mean? When you build a community, like if Rashad don't show up, that don't mean such and such ain't gonna show up. Dakota don't show up, that don't mean such and such ain't gonna show up. But you build a community of people that can sustain that vision when you're gone, or when you just ain't there on Sunday. You know what I mean? That says a lot, because that community is what keeps that thing fuming, keep it going. And we talked about your business, so T86 Marketing,
yes,
is the business.
I appreciate the gift as well, man. This is beautiful.
Yes, sir.
Got the logo on the cup.
Camera so they can see that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Definitely gonna put that up on the shelf, man, at the house.
Yes, sir. I love it, man. We ain't got no coffee, but we got water. You know what I'm saying? Duncan, holla at your boy. So I give my people some coffee.
Yes, sir.
But I love it, man. Like I appreciate, what you do as a man of God. You know what I mean? Again, like I don't know why I keep saying this, but you don't have to do it. You know what I'm saying? It lets me know that you do have a heart of God, because you getting out here doing it, pouring into these young people. And again, you don't have to do it. We're in a place now where we don't have to show up.
Right.
You know what I mean? We don't have to show up. We don't have to show up at church.
Get the check and go home.
And when you got a substantial business where you can just get what you need, and probably fly out to another city somewhere, you know what I'm saying, and disappear. You know what I mean? To still be in it says, this man got a heart of God, man, and he want to be able to grow and bring these other people into a place of establishment, of identity. So I appreciate you for continuing to pour. Like I said, man, like y'all been pouring since I known you, been consistent since I known you. You talked about the lives, man, and I remember like every day. I forgot what time it was, but every day.
8 in the morning.
It was 8 in the morning. Every day you was out there, like, and that alone takes a lot. to get out there and go live. Like, and the devil will be trying you
And I ain't no live person.
Yeah.
I don't do the live.
Yeah. Cause so much, like, I learned that so much can go wrong in that process. You know what I'm saying? And you, camera go out.
Right.
Might not be bright enough outside. You know what I'm saying? So I say, I'm gonna say this. I think that's where God started to put you through this training process to get you where you are right now. Cause again, like I've had the honor of being able to watch you and Mo grow. And that right there alone is just like, man, they doing it out here, man. They doing it out here. And from your business to your ministry to your marriage, again, to the kids and seeing them grow. And I see Zoe all the time. I'm like, man, Zoe need to be on a podcast somewhere too, don't you? Like,
Definitely.
So that's a blessing to me. I'm gonna give you opportunity. I tell everybody, this they camera right here. Let the people know how to connect with you, whatever you got going on, man. You got a book, you got a ministry, business. You want to shout your wife out, you want to shout your daughter, son out, like, go for it, man. Tell them how to connect with you, man.
Absolutely, man. Well, I appreciate the opportunity to be on the platform again, man. It's an honor to sit here. And I've been watching you, and I said I'm going to come correct on this podcast, man, because when it comes to whenever you put your hand on something, there's a certain standard that you set, man. And I always want to come up to par because that it's a standard of excellence that you show up with your stuff, man. So when I saw how you branded this thing, the way that you rolled this thing out and pushed it, I was very proud of you.
Yes, sir.
I know you know how to rally people around what you're doing. So I got to tip my hat off to you for the awesome job that you are doing and have been doing.
Yes, sir.
And staying committed to God as well throughout the entire time. So that's a beautiful thing, man. It's rare, and it's a beautiful thing that you're pushing the way that you are.
I appreciate that, man. I don't be wanting to share this every time, but I always kind of end up sharing it, segueing into sharing it. Like, again, when God told me these people, he said, everybody that comes on this podcast, I'm going to bless and expand their ministry.
Wow.
So it was an honor to me to when God gave me certain people, again, like, man, you haven't been connected in years. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was through social media, like, comment, what's up, bro, type thing. So to see that gives me the opportunity to kind of sit in a place where I'm like, oh, God finna show out, bro. Like, and I don't take credit for none of this. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it was a blessing, and it kind of gets me emotional, just like, oh, God finna do something for Rashad, man, because he said, put on a podcast.
Hey, man,
you know
I
mean?
receive it.
he finna do something. But, like, this your moment right now, man. Like, let the people know.
So an initiative my wife and I have right now is, like I said, building generational wealth. And one of the things we're rolling out is JW Partners, which is a retirement planning and wealth management agency. And so we are preparing families for building wealth, how to manage your money, how to steward the things that God has blessed you with. So one of the things we teach about is getting an instant estate. Being able to have an instant estate. As young people, man, it's a lot of debt we owe student loans, we owe credit card debt and all of those things. You can have we teach you how to get an instant estate. We teach you how to become your own bank. It's just a lot of different resources and knowledge that we are in. So definitely connect with us. My Instagram is the number one, Rashad Davis. You can follow the Monique Davis on Instagram, Rashad Davis on Facebook. So definitely connect with us. My business, T86 Marketing. Definitely connect if you are a digital coach or a community owner. We help build your world-class community experience. And outside of that, I have a boys mentorship, Prolific Leaders of Today. So we do a lot of awesome things in the community. We partner with different mentorships in the city. We host different events. We had an amazing Thanksgiving dinner that was powerful in Centennial Park. So we're just making impact, man. My biggest thing is impact. So if you're looking to make impact in the business field, finances, and the next generation, I definitely encourage you to connect and reach out.
Yes, sir. I love it, man. Again, thank you for being here. I appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate you, man.
Much success in everything that you do, everything you touch. I pray that God bless it.
You as well.
Hey, Queen, listen, tell me this question. Are you still walking in rooms shrinking down? Are you still thinking that some way, if you diminish who you are, not speak as bold, not share your opinion, not take up space, that somehow people will like you more? See, the problem is you're waiting to feel some type of confidence. You're waiting for someone to give you permission to be confident, to be bold, and to take up space. Listen, confidence is not something you wait to feel. It is something that you command. Confidence is not quiet and soft all the time. It's dangerous. If you are ready to stop being passive when it comes to your confidence, when it comes to walking in rooms and owning it, when it comes to commanding the authority that you desire, that you deserve, to be able to go after every goal and every dream. If you are tired of sitting on the sidelines of your own life, then you need to be a part of this next challenge. You need to join me for the Dangerous Confidence 3-day challenge. Listen, in these 3 days, your life will be revolutionized because you will learn the tools and the keys. I will train you how to walk in any room and command space, to open up your mouth and speak with authority and command people to hear what you have to say, because you, baby, you are a solution, but you keep shrinking. Listen, join me for this 3-day challenge for dangerous confidence. Go ahead and go to the website, destinyinspire.com right now and register. I want you to be there because your life, your confidence, your business, your brand, and your career will never be the same. Destiny Inspire, the Confidence Queen. Can't wait to see you there. Register